At this point, the Surface Laptop is basically a known quantity. Sure, the Laptop Studio brings some new ideas to the table, but the original laptop design hasn't been updated in so long that it's now the oldest design in Microsoft's Surface lineup. That's not to say it's not awesome. I still love the Surface Laptop's design, but it is getting a little long in the tooth. So my major question was, could I use the Surface Laptop 4 for everything and wean myself back off of Mac devices that I've been using over the past year? Let's talk about it. This is NOISO, and this is my Surface Laptop 4 review. Let's start with that design. Same large bezels, same aluminum build, same wedge shape, and same Alcantara wrist rest. Yes, after going to the metal wrist rest of the Surface Laptop 3, I have returned to the Alcantara of the Surface Laptop 4, and I'm so happy to do so. This has the exact same design as my original Surface Laptop from 3 or 4 years ago, and I absolutely love it. Now, of course, I would love for the bezels to be a little bit smaller, especially because I'm not going to be holding this as a tablet. But otherwise, this design still holds up really well. I don't need it to be updated that much. The question instead is, can it be updated to be more modern without losing its true Surface design? Which I think the Laptop Studio goes a little bit overboard in creating something completely new. Which is ironic because the original laptop I've criticized for not doing anything different from most other devices on the market, unlike what kind of Surface's mantra is. But that's okay for me. Now, I haven't used the Laptop Studio, hopefully that will come soon, but for now, if I were to choose between the Laptop 4's design and the Laptop Studio's design, I would choose the Laptop 4 because I'm not using it a lot for creative work, like writing on the screen. Instead, I would probably just want a Pro 8 for that sort of method. Now, where the Laptop 4 does kind of fall behind is in the display. Now, I have a Pro 8 and I love the 120Hz refresh rate of it. And if I had a Laptop Studio, I would probably do the same. Now, I am not incredibly sensitive to high refresh rate displays, but I did notice that the Pro 8 feels a little bit smoother when you turn it on to 120 Hz. The only other real problem that I have with the Surface Laptop 4's display is that it still, like many other Surfaces, is just too reflective. I hope that Microsoft in the future can find better reflective or anti-glare coatings to put on their Surface devices, because after touching the screen a number of times, quickly it becomes too smeary in order to be able to see what I'm doing. This is especially the case with dark mode, which Microsoft seems to be gravitating towards with Windows 11. I'm not the biggest fan because it means that I'm constantly looking at myself in a black mirror, and I prefer having brighter screens so the reflection isn't nearly as bad. For the keyboard and trackpad, there's nothing new here, which is a good thing for me. I will confirm that the Surface Laptop 3 that I had with a metal keyboard deck notably had stiffer, more metallic feeling keys, whereas this, the Alcantara keyboard, feels a lot more plasticky, but it's not bad for me. I actually like the little bit of flex that the deck has when you're typing on the keyboard because it offers a lot of feedback for me. I enjoy the kind of squishy, soft, bouncy experience that I have typing on this. This doesn't come with a fingerprint reader the same way that the high-end Surface Laptop Go's do, which is a little weird that between the high-end Surface Laptop Go, you get a fingerprint reader and then you switch to Windows Hello here with facial recognition. I prefer actually having the fingerprint reader. Not that I don't like the idea of easily opening my laptop, it recognizing me and immediately logging in, but unfortunately, that's not the experience that I get. Even here with the Surface Laptop 4, which is incredibly powerful and modern, I still have several instances where, unfortunately, it takes a little bit to ramp up, or for some reason the camera's not working. I don't know, share your experiences down below if you ever have the same thing with Windows Hello. But unfortunately, a lot of the times, I just need to use a pin to log in, and it's faster than waiting for the IR camera to fire up. Now, in terms of specs and performance, the Surface Laptop has never stuck out as being great in terms of price or performance, relative to a lot of other devices in the market. Surface has always held a premium, and you see it here. That's still the case. The base model comes with a Ryzen 5 or an Intel Core i5 10th generation, which I'm perfectly fine with. This is a Ryzen model with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, and I have been really impressed with the performance. The Surface Laptop 4 is also upgradable. If you didn't see my video where I upgraded a whole bunch of Surface devices, you should check it out. But the good news is, if you are a little bit tech savvy, then you can upgrade your Surface Laptop 4. So you can get a lower end model, 256 gigs, and upgrade it to a terabyte or more, which is awesome. So be sure to keep that in mind and watch that video if you are interested. Now, of course, you're going to get similar performance on any modern device, sometimes even better, but the fact is in the past, when I was using a Surface Laptop, Laptop 2, or a book, I would not be able to do the same sort of video editing that I was able to do on this device. Granted, it was mostly 1080p or some 4K in a single stream I was able to edit, but not nearly to the extent that I could do so on a MacBook Air M1. Even when I was editing a couple 1080p or even 4K streams, the fan was not nearly as loud as I've known in the past. It was relatively quiet and manageable. Of course, compared to the MacBook Air M1, which doesn't have a fan, it is louder, and it does get a little bit hotter. But I will say when I was doing that 4K editing, ironically enough, the processor wasn't maxed out. It was performing at about 60 or 70% utilization. It might have been the 8 gigs of RAM that was having a bigger impact on my ability to edit. And so that might be a reason to go with the 16 gig model if you are planning on using this for something like content creation. If you're instead using this for office work, a lot of people say that 16 gigs of RAM is a minimum, but I haven't really seen that as the case. Still, my Surface Laptop Go for most office work, working in pretty large Excel files, does perfectly fine with 4 gigs. So 8 gigs, if you plan on using this for 2 or 3 years, should get you through. Finally, I want to talk about the ports. Like the Surface Laptop 3, this has a USB-C, USB-A, and the Surface Connect port, which are all fine. I, of course, would love for the USB-C port to be Thunderbolt so I could use my external graphics card, which is sitting right over here. I would love to be able to hook it up to an external graphics card and be able to use this as a true gaming machine. But unfortunately, this was the last, hopefully, the last Surface laptop to be one without Thunderbolt. Now that we are seeing Thunderbolt in more modern devices, it's good news for us. Now that Apple is bringing back MagSafe in their MacBook Pros, maybe there's more people that are looking for magnetic charging on their devices, and Surface has managed to retain it for all this time. But ironically, I still have not even used the Surface Connect port since I got this device. I've been charging it over USB-C since I got it. And that might be me, because I have a tendency to want to charge using the same cable as my phone and every other laptop or tablet that I have in this house. But maybe let me know down in the comments if you have personally used the Surface Connect port or use it frequently. If I had my own choice, then I'd probably replace that port with 2 USB-C ports, hopefully Thunderbolt 3 or 4. Before we go, let's talk about the pricing. At the Surface Laptop 4's MSRP, it is too expensive and you should not buy it. But the good news is, now that it's been out for quite a few months, you should be able to find a lot better deals on it. And if you're willing to go with the used or refurbished model, you should be able to get it for quite cheap. So keep that in mind. The downside of being a Surface fan is if you are an early adopter, then whatever products you buy will depreciate quite swiftly. But if you are instead willing to wait a little bit, then you can get great prices. So take a look online, find the best price before you pull the trigger here. That takes us to the bottom line. If I could only own one laptop, whether it be for creative work or office work or web-based programs or just sending emails or browsing Twitter, then the Surface Laptop 4 would be it. Probably at a higher spec than I currently have, because I don't think that this can handle high-end video editing, and maybe even the higher spec models could struggle a little bit. Now, it's weird because I'm not in that position. I thankfully have the ability to own more than one laptop, and that's because I edit videos and make these videos for y'all. And for that reason, I can have more purpose-built devices for all the things that I want to do. And the Surface Laptop 4 is a better jack of all trades than it is a master of any. It's not great at video editing. It's good at office work, but it's a little bit overpowered for it. And if I wanted just a great device, then I could go for a Surface Laptop Go or a Surface Pro 8 or anything else and get that same Windows experience that I need. If it was a few years ago and I was going to college and I needed a laptop to do everything, the Surface Laptop 4 would be it, because this is the most premium, jack of all trades, just perfect device for me. I love the experience of using the Surface Laptop 4, but I'm not in that position. So let me know down in the comments if you think the Surface Laptop 4 is for you, or what in particular matters to you when you're thinking about buying a laptop. If you need help, then there are plenty of Surface fans that follow this channel, so I'm sure someone in the comments will answer any questions that you have. Thank you for watching in No ISO. I hope you liked this review of the Surface Laptop 4. If you did, be sure to check out my Surface playlist and get subscribed because I always release new videos on Surface devices, and the Pro 8 review is coming up soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.